Stephanie White didn't hold back. When it came to sharing her thoughts on NaLyssa Smith's potential and future, she dove right in, sending shockwaves through the world of basketball with statements that some might say are both bold and almost prophetic. It was almost as if White had been waiting for this moment, collecting her observations and insights like a fine game plan, then choosing the perfect time to lay it all out. White's approach was neither a gentle nudge nor a casual remark, but a series of revelations that dropped like a succession of three-pointers on the buzzer. It's the kind of insight that gets fans buzzing and commentators scrambling to interpret every word. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. NaLyssa Smith, for those who have only recently tuned into the world of women's hoops, is already a standout talent in her own right, but White sees something more. She believes Smith isn't just a great player, she's the future. This isn't White being sentimental or overhyping a player to create some temporary buzz. No, White spoke with a conviction that seemed to stem from seeing something in Smith that no one else does, or at least something that no one else is willing to say out loud. Smith, according to White, has the potential to redefine the game, and White made it clear that she believes we're all just scratching the surface of what Smith is truly capable of. White's tone was nothing short of matter-of-fact, as if she were stating simple truths rather than offering up controversial takes. When asked about Smith, White didn't flinch. She simply laid out her thoughts in a way that made even the boldest predictions sound like common sense. The way she described Smith's combination of athleticism, work ethic, and skill development made it hard to argue against her assessment. It wasn't about Smith just being fast or strong. It was about a complete player in the making. A player with a rare mix of qualities that could change a team's fate single-handedly. White's admiration for Smith's talent was clear, but she also emphasized how Smith's future in the sport wasn't just about her personal achievements. It was about something much larger, a shift in women's basketball, a new chapter driven by a new kind of player. And while White was delivering this analysis of Smith's potential, she didn't shy away from a little comparison. It wasn't a direct one, mind you, but she hinted at the impact that players like Caitlin Clark have had, subtly aligning Smith's potential with Clark's rising influence. This wasn't about rivalry or any unnecessary competition between the two. White's mention of Clark seemed more to set a backdrop, showing the way young players are stepping up and setting the bar higher. Clark is one of those figures who has redefined scoring and excitement in college hoops, and White's reference to her felt like a call-out, a recognition of the force Clark has become. Yet in the same breath, it was as if she was saying, Smith can be that, but she can also be something entirely different and equally transformative. The implications of White's words reach beyond mere predictions. To those who follow the league and understand its nuances, it's clear that White is pointing to a future where players like Smith and Clark will be leading, redefining how the game is played and watched. White's respect for both players was obvious, but there was a subtle implication that she believes Smith has a certain edge, a quality that could perhaps allow her to transcend even Clark's contributions. White's words painted a picture of Smith, not just as a player, but as a phenomenon waiting to unfold, a force that could eventually draw comparisons to some of the greatest names in the sport, male or female. What made White's statements even more gripping was the way she described Smith's journey. Smith wasn't born into stardom. Her rise has been marked by grit and determination. White didn't romanticize Smith's story, nor did she try to paint her as an underdog. Instead, she acknowledged Smith's journey as one defined by an intense drive, a hunger to improve, and an unyielding commitment to mastering her craft. This wasn't about natural talent alone. It was about a player who put in the work day in and day out. White's respect for Smith wasn't just for her skill, but for her attitude, the way she attacks each game in practice with the same focus and intensity. That's where White's admiration seemed to come from, not just Smith's talent, but her mentality. White's perspective on Smith's future wasn't confined to her skills on the court. She hinted at Smith's potential influence off the court as well, noting how Smith's personality and character could inspire younger players and fans alike. White seemed to believe that Smith has the qualities that could make her not just a star player but a leader, someone who young athletes look up to and emulate. This wasn't about creating a role model or a brand. White's vision for Smith was rooted in authenticity, in Smith's ability to lead by example without trying to be something she's not. Smith's humble yet determined nature was, in White's view, something that could resonate deeply with fans and players alike, creating a connection that goes beyond highlights and stats. One of the most interesting parts of White's discussion was her emphasis on the importance of timing. She spoke about how Smith is entering the sport at a pivotal moment, a time when women's basketball is gaining more attention and respect than ever before. White seemed to imply that Smith's rise isn't just a matter of talent or hard work. It's also a matter of arriving at the right moment. With the sport evolving and gaining traction, White hinted that Smith's journey could become symbolic of this shift, a player whose career aligns with a new era for women's basketball. White's excitement about this timing was palpable, as if she could already see the headlines, the new fans, and the changing perception of the sport all tied to Smith's ascent. While White's comments about Smith were certainly attention-grabbing, her perspective on Clark added a fascinating layer. Caitlin Clark has already captured the hearts of fans with her explosive style of play, her long-range shooting, and her fierce competitiveness. White acknowledged Clark's influence, subtly noting how players like her are reshaping expectations. Clark is the kind of player who turns casual fans into devoted followers, someone whose energy and skill make each game a must-watch. White's mention of Clark wasn't so much a comparison to Smith, but a recognition of the different ways players can impact the sport. Where Clark draws attention with her bold play style, Smith, White seemed to suggest, could captivate audiences with her steady dominance and relentless drive. White's bombshell revelations were about more than just the future of two players. They were about the future of the sport itself. By discussing Smith and Clark in this way, she was drawing a roadmap for where women's basketball could go. In White's view, players like Smith and Clark are not just participating in the sport, they're shaping it. This isn't just about breaking records or winning games. It's about creating a new kind of fan experience, one where fans are invested in players' journeys, not just their stats. White seemed to be saying that Smith and Clark represent two sides of a coin. One brings the flash and intensity, the other the discipline and consistency. Together, they could help bring women's basketball into a new era, one that attracts fans not just for a season, but for a lifetime. The way White laid all this out was nothing short of captivating. She spoke with the confidence of someone who's seen enough to know what's possible, and who genuinely believes in the potential she sees in Smith and Clark. Her words were measured, her tone calm, but there was an energy beneath it all, a quiet excitement that hinted at the impact these players could have. It's rare to hear such unfiltered belief from someone like White, who tends to be reserved in her statements. Yet here she was, sharing her thoughts openly, almost daring the world to challenge her vision. White's insights left everyone with a sense of anticipation. She had painted a picture of a future where players like NaLyssa Smith and Caitlin Clark are at the forefront, leading a revolution in women's basketball. It wasn't about one player being better than the other. It was about two paths converging to create something larger than themselves. White's admiration for both players was clear, but her focus on Smith hinted that, in her mind, the best may still be yet to come. Her words echoed in the minds of those who heard them, sparking conversations, debates, and dreams of what might lie ahead for these young stars and the sport they're helping to redefine. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.